Yeah, thank you for the nice words. I'm glad that you like it because you're the first one actually to give us any kind of direct feedback, because the promo by our label was just sent out last Friday. So of course the whole release info press things are circulating, but you're really the first one to say you like it. Yeah, so we are really glad, or I am really glad to hear that. That's really cool indeed. We worked quite for a long time on the album. We began in the first, during the first pandemic in 2020, and then really started getting into it during the second phase of the pandemic in late 2021 actually. So you see, we worked for almost 5 years, and I have to tell you a secret. Our singer Stefan, shortly before we wanted to give it to the mastering studio to be mastered, he was like, no, I want to redo all the lead vocals. And I was like, no, I was convinced it was good, but actually, yeah, he listened to the songs for years, and he was progressing as a singer too, because he was doing bigger gigs with different kinds of bands and styles. So he was convinced he could do better. I was like, okay, so if you want to do, because I had to remix all the songs. But actually, yeah, he did these small percentages of more, which gave the songs, of course, more of dynamic, and his vocals more of range and things. So he was very, very motivated to give not 99 but 100%, and he did, I have to say. Yeah.
Cool. Before we get into the album and stuff like that, I want to ask you questions about other people that you worked with before. Can you tell me your relationship with Danny Vaughn for Tyketto?
Yeah, that's indeed a special kind of relationship, because again, we go back to the pandemic. The pandemic hit hard and everyone was sitting at home. And I was like, what am I going to do with all my time sitting at home? And I was like, I want to record an album with heroes of mine who really influenced me as a musician. And Tyketto, everyone who knows me, all my friends know that I was listening to the Tyketto albums, mostly the first two ones, day and night when I was like, I don't know, 16, 17, 18. And so Danny Vaughn was the first singer who I contacted to see if these kind of people actually are even willing to work with me. I am, before that, I was a nobody. Now I'm still a nobody, but a little more maybe. Anyway, I wrote him an email and sent him some songs and also links to Lazarus Dream video to show that I actually release kind of professional music. And he was the first to say, yeah, he'll join me for the Barnabas Sky project. So that gave me some self-confidence to contact all the other guys I worked with in the meantime for 3 Barnabas Sky albums. So, and one major difference for all other guys, and that comes back to the Winterland subject indeed, we supported Tyketto in 2014 with Winterland. So we shared the stage more than a decade ago in Mannheim at the Siebener Club, it's called. And I had a short talk with him while he was tuning his 12-string. I wrote him in the email, I said, you probably don't remember me because I'm one guy of probably hundreds of support bands, but we met before. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. And for the new album, for the next Barnabas Sky album, which will be released in August, again, he will sing the opening track. So since Barnabas Sky started with Danny Vaughn, I always want him to sing the opening track on the album. So I will have that on the 3rd album again. And just before we talked, I was sitting here listening to the current master of exactly that song, which is called The Sign of the Wolf. Yeah.
Cool. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Tony Harnell, who's a personal friend of mine and a great guy.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Tony, of course, Tell No Tales was a very important album while I was young. And then sometime I contacted Tony if he would like to join me for the Barnabas Sky album. And indeed, for the next album, he'll be singing the ballad on the album. Of course, with his very unique voice, no one sounds like he does. And yeah, I got to know him as a very focused on detail person, which I am too. So yeah, it was very, very cool to work with, and of course, an incredible singer.
Definitely good guy too. You know, tell me a little bit about Doogie White.
I worked with Doogie for the last Barnabas Sky album. Circus of Delight was the song. It's a very straightforward classic rock song, and indeed, I wrote it especially for him because I wanted to hear him to sing this kind of straightforward song with a Hammond organ, so it has some rainbow vibes to it, to admit it. Yeah, of course.
Definitely. Cool. And tell me a little bit about Zak Stevens.
Zak Stevens was the second singer to say he'll be joining me for the Barnabas Sky project on the first album, indeed. However, he was the first one to deliver his final recorded vocals for the song What Lies Beneath. And I was blown away because I always loved his voice. I always preferred his voice to John Oliver's voice. I know I'm a little in the minority here, but I love his more baritone kind of voice. I did not work with him again because after he joined me with Barnabas Sky, he joined my friend Jürgen Walzer's project Disperia. Part of the Disperia livecast is also Winterland singer Stefan Hugo. And after Zak started singing songs with Disperia, I thought it might be strange to have two music projects in Kaiserslautern who feature Zak Stevens. So I wanted Jürgen to keep Zak, and I started working with other guys. But it had nothing to do that we had some falling out or any kind of creative problems. I just did not. I felt it might be cannibalizing each other if we work with the same singers. Yeah.
Tell me, in 1996, you put out Under the Flood, a demo. After that demo was released, what were your feelings towards the music scene at that time?
That was a very, very complicated time for melodic rock. In fact, when we did that, it was a demo tape way back. When we did that, I recorded all the instruments in my home studio, and we recorded the vocals in a recording studio. And then we sent it out to hundreds of fanzines. I had a good friend of mine, Stefan Klaas. In the meantime, he writes for the German Rock Heart. He will be reviewing the Winterland album for the next Rock Heart. So we go way back, I don't know, 35 years. Anyway, he gave me addresses of fanzines and magazines all over the world. I sent them out to all over the world, and the reactions were pretty positive because people said Winterland has something unique. Whatever it is, no one was really able to say what it is. Anyway, yeah, and people liked it. And then the two people project became a complete band because we had positive feedback. So it helped us become a real band and play live regularly until the early 2000s, because that tape really got very positive feedback. And thinking back, it was a very groundbreaking time for myself because I was starting to go online. I was, programming my first website in HTML, in the HTML text editor, and we offered downloads of 20 seconds as WAV files because it was years before MP3 was even invented. Just to say that by my employer, by Fraunhofer, I'm working for the Fraunhofer Society, who invented MP3 and killed the music industry, which is funny enough. Anyway, yeah, so it was a very, very interesting time way back when. And we were lucky to have that kind of positive feedback, which we did not expect to happen.
Cool. Now, in 1998, Blind came out, which was your first release, I guess. And tell me a little bit about that compared to the new album.
Yeah, there is a major difference, and the major difference is there were no keyboards on it because we became a live band, and Stefan Hugo, who in the meantime became the singer for Winterland, he was playing guitar and doing backing vocals at the time. We had another singer, and Stefan and me were writing songs. Interestingly enough, if you search the internet, you will see that on the Blind album, there is a song called Missing. The song called Missing on the new album goes way back to the Blind album, and the music was written by Stefan Hugo, not by myself. In 1997, to be precise. I know he wrote it when I was on holiday on Rhodes, Greece. I remember that because when I came home, we rehearsed the song. I was like, wow, that song is pretty heavy, guys. And the difference is, yeah, we were a live band. We were rehearsing in the rehearsal room, and we were more prog metal than melodic rock. Right. For me personally, it was a little too heavy at the time because I always preferred songs with keyboards. But the thing is, we just didn't find a keyboard player. Yeah, but it was a pretty cool album with many progressive elements. And as I said, the song Missing, we were not 100% happy with how it turned out on the album back then. That's the reason why we re-recorded it for the new and recent album.
Now let's get into the life. What makes it? When is the release date, and when is what label you're on? Are you doing it independently? Give me some background.
Yeah, the release date is easy to remember. Is 6/6. It's the 6th of June, actually. And not as most of my other projects, it's not with Pride and Joy Music, but we found a label in the Netherlands called Rock Company who wanted to release it. It's a small label, but they are 100% convinced of the material and of us as persons. So we were kind of, looking forward to just release with a new label and have new contacts. So far, the press reaction is pretty impressive after they sent out the release info worldwide. We have like, I don't know, it was shared by something like 30 or 40 Facebook sites, by like 20 websites with news Newsmeldungen, I don't know the English word, news items. Yeah. So no, we definitely said we do not want to release it independently, but because the thing is, especially with the print press, you say in German, if you self-release something, you will almost be, it will be impossible to get any kind of feature because the world is flooded with self-released albums. We knew we need a label to be taken seriously.
Right, yeah. Wow. Definitely, like, I mean, I got 15 tracks from you guys for this new album, stuff like that. A couple, tribute or cover songs and stuff like that. So let's get into the beginning of the album, the song I Want Out. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was the second last song we wrote and recorded for the album. And I personally, I am convinced that that's Stefan's best vocal performance on the album. He doesn't agree, I know that, but I said, I think, the song starts and it just hits the nail right on the head. Then the guitars go out, you just have drums, bass, and his voice is so immense in that verse. I insisted on having this as the album opener. I just love his vocals, and I have to admit the difference between people like Danny Vaughn or Rob Lundgren, whom I worked with for Mystery Moon. Stefan Hugo is a close friend of mine. We live in the same town. We are close friends for 3 decades. We can speak openly with each other without any egos being hurt or something. So yeah, and I just love him as a person, and I love his voice, and I love his voice most on that song. I can't say why. That's just the way it is.
The next track, I Don't Know, which is one of my personal favorites.
I admit it's one of mine too, and that's why we selected that song to be the first video single, even if it has almost 7 minutes and really is a pretty yeah, almost with progressive parts, a progressive track. Also goes back to the year 2001 when we did the Personality album way back then. Yeah, what can I say? I mean, anyone who has the time to listen to a 7-minute song will be able to enjoy it with that big instrumental part in the middle. Our bass player, Ben Schreiber, he plays some fretless bass there. He has some background in the in jazz and fusion style. So I don't know if you really hear a bass player play fretless bass in these kind of songs. I think that's something very unique, and I really like that about the song. And of course, the lyrics are very thought-provoking too. That's why we chose it to be a lyric video.
Cool, cool. Now the third track, Reach for the Sky, which is my second favorite song on the album. So,
okay, that's interesting. I think it's the most accessible song, or so to say, commercial. We were discussing to release Reach for the Sky as a video single or not. We went with the title track, but I admit Reach for the Sky is very, very, you listen to the chorus and it's very AOR-ish, of course. The music for the song also is a little older, like in the early 2000s, but it had an other title and was called In the End, and dealt with the 11th of September attacks. So it was written very, very shortly after that, the music and the lyrics. Of course, that's more than 20 years ago. We rewrote the lyrics and gave the song a completely new message. Well, Stefan wrote the lyrics, not me. I write the music. That's enough for me.
Okay. Cool, cool. Life's What You Make It, track 4.
The title track is one of our singer's favorite songs on the album, and the lyrics are very meaningful because they deal with persons who try to pretend to be something or someone they are not. And Stefan wants to tell the listener, just be yourself. You don't have to be conventional as someone else wants you to be. Just stand for what and who you are. And therefore the video has not yet been released, but that's what also that you see that mirror, yeah, that mirror here behind me, that mirror, that is the mirror, you know, that mirror and that whole motive symbolizes you are living in a self-made gray world. Just look into the mirror, look at who you are, accept who and what you are, and you will see that yeah, the blue sky and everything which belongs to that. And in the video for the song, Stefan faces a mirror and sings into the mirror. So I just want to make sure many people say that of themselves, but we try to do some kind of art, you know. It has an art thing to it. It's not just song by song. And that title track, the cover and the video should really be symbolizing that whole subject. Be yourself, stand for yourself, and don't try to please everyone else. It won't make you happy on the long run and in the end.
Okay. Track number 5, Follow Me.
Follow Me deals with influences who we really think to be pretty, what is the right word? We don't understand that people say, hey, look, this is a glass of water. That's wonderful. And 100,000 people say, oh my God, he likes a glass of water. I need to buy a glass of water. I mean, this whole influencer, crap, I don't understand it. But these people get so powerful, you know. I think they could tell people, shoot yourself, it's cool, and people will shoot themselves. Right. And we deal with that subject, however, on a sarcastic and cynical way. And Stefan wrote the lyrics as if he is the influencer, and he sings in an arrogant way, I am the virtual messiah and these kind of things. So if you listen to the lyrics, you will very quickly realize this can't be taken seriously. And of course it's not, it's ironic. Yeah.
How about Strength in Numbers? Track number 6.
Strength in Numbers we wrote in the late 90s already. with the same subject, which becomes more current than we would really wish to, because way back in the 90s in Germany, after Eastern and West Germany came together, especially in Eastern Germany, people with a black color were attacked because of the color of their skin. I mean, how stupid is that? They have red blood, I have red blood. Why should I care about their skin? That's stupid. So it's these people, we say rechtsradikal, do we say right wing? Right wing people? Yeah. And unfortunately, these people way back in the 90s became more and more, and no one knew why. And right now we have the same tendencies in Germany again. Of course, because of several problems with migration, but judging people from the color of their skin is not what we should do. And we just wanted to do a statement with that song, because thanks to the numbers, we played live often, but we never recorded it for a CD. And we thought it's the time to do it now, unfortunately, concerning the subject.
How about track number 7, Personality?
Personality has a similar subject as the title track, Life's Short You Make It. And says, and we write it with a big S in the middle, you know, personality with a big S, and that S says, stand up, be yourself, and don't be what everyone else expects you to be. The music has been reworked, and also the bass parts have been way more filigrane than they had been before. I like that song. It has no real shredder solo. The solo is very easy, but it's a straightforward rock song, which I really like to listen to.
Cool. Track number 8, After the Storm.
After the Storm is one of 2 songs where the majority of the music was not composed by myself, but by Stefan Hugo. It has some Fates Warning influences to it, and in the verses you will be able not to count to 4 always. We have beats which like 4 2 4 2 4 4 2. It's a little more progressive than your usual Winterland song. And I really like the chorus, because after that progressive thing in the verses, the chorus is so melodic you wouldn't expect that. I think I wrote the chorus chords, I don't know, but the majority of the music was written by Stefan, and I really like that.
Track number 9, Missing.
Missing was completely written by Stefan. It's the hardest track and one of the heaviest tracks Winterland ever recorded, except for that other one that Stefan wrote. The other track was called The Tables Are Turned. It was on the Blind album, and it was really reminiscent of Annihilator, if you ask me. I cannot write that kind of music. I'm a soft guy. Anyway, Missing is a really heavy song, and the lyrics were written by our former singer, Thorsten Fries. I had nothing to do with the songwriting for that song, which does not mean that I don't like it. Quite the contrary is the case.
Track number 10 is Runaway, which is my 3rd favorite song.
That's really cool, because it's the regular album Closer, and it's also the last song we wrote. You see, it has 7.5 minutes. I thought it might be a cool idea to end the album with such a long track. And even if it's so long, it doesn't really have another structure than the other songs. It just has, the verse is pretty long, the chorus is pretty long, the parts themselves are pretty long, but it doesn't have like 10 different parts as many other long songs have. And the most striking thing for me with that song is that Stefan really managed to find a chorus which is very, very, how do you say, immediate. You listen to it, and the second time it comes in the song, you can already sing along. That's what I mean with immediate. I really loved the song. I was on holiday in Spain, and he sent me a demo, and I was like, wow, how could you come up with that kind of chorus and melody to that kind of music? I would have never have thought it, because I write the music, he writes the lyrics, but also the vocal melodies. I'm out of that. I really love it too, I admit. Yeah, really cool song.
Cool. Track number 8, 11, Through the Barricades, which is your ballad. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's not really our ballad. If you don't know the original, we wanted it's the on the digitally released album. This is the last regular track, and the other 4 are bonus tracks on the CD. Actually, Through the Barricades is originally a song by British band Spandau Ballet.
Oh yeah,
and but it's originally played with an acoustic guitar, and years ago, we used to play that live just with acoustic guitar and vocals, and Stefan was playing the acoustic guitar. I admit I cannot play that because I never learned to play the acoustic guitar. I just can play rock. So I said, if we cover that song, what about doing it completely different? And I asked Joris Guibaud, that French guy who also did the piano version of the Mystery Moon song, to play that grand piano, and to do a grand piano interpretation of Through the Barricades. And our good friend, singer Sabrina Roth, added the few small, short flute parts. So I think we managed to keep the atmosphere of the song, but not to cover it, but to take it on some other level with that piano and flute thing. Yeah. And I think it's Stefan's vocal performance is really mind-blowing, because not every singer would dare to cover that song, because he did not really change the song. However, it sounds like it was written for his voice.
Yeah. Wow. So the 3 songs that I picked that I really like, I Don't Know, Reach for the Sky, and Runaway. Were you surprised that I picked them songs?
No, because Missing is very heavy, and the chorus just comes once. After the Storm is a little more progressive than the rest. The other songs are more immediate. Life's What You Make It, I personally think, is a very strong song, but it's not as immediate as the others. However, we picked it to be the title track and also the video single. I don't know what to expect from the reactions from the people. No, I think these songs are the most immediate ones. So no, for me, not a big surprise.
Cool. And the next couple tracks are all cover songs and stuff like that. You said the Depeche Mode, Sunglasses at Night by Corey Hart, Union of the Snake, DURAN, and Warriors of the Wasteland, which is Frankie Goes to Hollywood, which I love that band too. You know, were there other songs, cover songs you wanted to do but just didn't put it on there?
I have to tell you a secret. In fact, we originally wanted to do a double album. One album with originals and one album with cover songs. While we do not cover, we do our own interpretations of the songs. But every label said double albums don't go, and albums with only covers also find no interest. So we said, okay, we just take some of these cover versions we recorded and give them away for free as a bonus for people who are willing to buy the CD. In fact, we have other songs recorded lying back here behind me. For example, Billie Jean by Michael Jackson in a very cool rocking version with deeper tuned guitars. We have Crazy by Seal in an 8-minute version with a long guitar solo, similar to the one in I Don't Know. We played that song live in the early 2000s, and we recaptured that live arrangement we had of that song. And as you see, all these songs are not rock songs. It was important to us that if we reinterpret songs we like, that we don't take rock songs, because that way you are forced as a rock band to give these songs some other sound and style. Like I think like with the Depeche Mode song, I said let's play that song as if we were Iron Maiden, you know, with harmony guitars and things. I love Depeche Mode. I saw them live several times, but of course it only makes sense to interpret their song if you do it differently because covering would be boring and artistically, boring. So yeah, these songs, I don't know if I forgot songs. I think I forgot songs we recorded. I did, but I don't know. You're recording, so I can't go back and see which ones I forgot.
Yeah. Is there anything about any live shows coming up?
Unfortunately not. As I said, we played live and supported Tyketto way back in 2014. Back then, indeed, we had a bass player and a drummer, but the drummer was a professional musician. And each time when we played live, like when we supported Tyketto, I don't have to tell you that, we did not get a cent. He's a professional musician. He missed the opportunity to play with another band that evening where he would have get paid $300 an evening. So each gig he played with us, he lost money. He could not afford to stay with Winterland. So yeah, and we didn't find any keyboard players, so the keyboards were sampled. And I don't like to have samples playing live because I think that's just nonsense. But yeah, as you don't find a keyboard player and you are not able to pay your drummer, it's simply, yeah, it's just not possible at the stage and age that we are. You know, if you're in your early 20s, everyone's going to university and say, yeah, let's hop on a tour bus and go on tour for 2 months during the semester break. That's no problem. But when you have your rent to pay and your children to feed and stuff, it becomes more and more harder. And the thing is, with original music, you don't make any money at all. You need to do cover shows if you want to earn money with live gigs here, especially tribute shows and things like that. Stefan is the singer for David Bowie tribute band called Ziggy's Stardust. But that's the only way to play live and to be paid. Cool. If we would play live, no one would pay us anything.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
That's here too. So yeah, you know, in America, same thing. You know. Will this album come out on vinyl?
No, unfortunately not, because vinyl, to break even, I was told you need to have at least 1,000 units be sold on vinyl, and that's hard for even better known bands than us.
Right, yeah. Wow. Cool. You have any merchandise you like to talk about?
Only the CD. The only thing I can say is when the album comes out, people, either you download the album from Bandcamp, because that way we get more than 2 cents. I think Bandcamp is pretty fair as far as the artist share is concerned. And the best way to get the album is to buy the CD directly from our label, from Rock Company in the Netherlands.
Well, Winterland, new album, Life's What You Make It. Markus Pfeffer. Did I get it right?
Pfeffer, perfect.
Cool. It was great talking to you again. I'm sure we'll talk again later on in the year. And would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
Yeah, thank you to anyone who tuned in, who listened to whatever I had to say with my very typical German accent. I cannot hide it, but I don't even try to hide it, because what did I say? Stand for yourself, be who you are, and everyone can hear that I am a German guy. And if it's amusing to anyone and I could make anyone smile, I have done something good today. Yeah. And listen to our music, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we do, because we really enjoyed doing that album, and there's a lot of heart and soul in it. I can speak for my band colleagues Stefan and Bernd. They are as proud of this album as I am, and I am happy for anyone who enjoys it as much as we do.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Markus.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.